Hi everyone, welcome back to Too Cool for Middle School. My name is Megan and I've been a middle school teacher for 12 years. I'm going into my 13th year of teaching middle school this year. I've had this channel for about 10 of those years and I've talked a lot about the different procedures and rules and things like that that I do in my classroom, but it's been a few years since I've made a video like this, like a back to school video, talking about the rules and procedures that I have in my classroom. The first time I made one of these videos, I had just been teaching for a couple of years, and so I'm interested to kind of go back and watch that video. I'll link it down below, and then watch this one and just see how things have changed in my classroom, see how they've changed in my teaching. There's some things that have stayed the same, but after doing this for quite a while, there are a few things that I just don't allow people to do in my classroom or that I require of students to do in my classroom. One of the things that I've learned for myself is just kind of acknowledging the infrastructure of the day. So I'm in one place all day long. I'm in my classroom and we have 7 periods in the day. Last year I didn't have an off period, so I taught 7 classes back to back to back to back to back. So students would come in, they're in there for 45 minutes or so, and then they leave. And then I have to repeat, the beginning of class, kind of getting kids ready and teaching through a lesson and giving them time to work on things and dealing with the packing up process and the exiting of the room process, which in middle school is kind of a nightmare. I gotta do that 7 times in one day, 35 times in 1 week. It's really exhausting, and I have to have something left after I leave work at 3:30, 4 o'clock. I have to go pick up my kids and spend time with them. I have to talk to my husband and maybe see a friend or, have some kind of mental space left within me after teaching 200 and some odd kids all day. So I don't want to be fighting everything all the time. There are some things that are just unsustainable for me to do 7 times in a day. Now I kind of have to think about for my own mental health, for my own well-being, what can I handle 7 times in one day, 35 times in 1 week, week after week after week with middle schoolers. So at some point, especially for secondary teachers where you have, just kids coming through every 45 minutes to an hour or whatever, there are certain things that you've got to do for your own well-being. The things that elementary teachers need to do when they have their kids for a whole day are probably going to be a little bit different. Sometimes they start off the day with a circle and they have kind of their morning circle time, and then they move into something else, and after lunch they do a certain thing, and the energy levels maybe go up and down a little bit for the kids and for the teacher. But for me, in under an hour, I've got to get the kids started, push the kids through, and then manage the exiting. And that takes a lot of effort on the part of a middle school teacher. Okay, so let's get to it. I wrote down 7 kind of rules and procedures that I have in my room. There's probably more than this, but these are some that are just important for me. In your classroom, you might have a different personality, you might have different kids, things might go differently for you, but this is something that helps me in my classroom. So, number 1, these are in no particular order, but I was just thinking about the beginning of my class. We do not use Chromebooks at the beginning of class. I don't let students walk into my classroom like this on a Chromebook. Many of them they walk from class to class with their Chromebook open, playing a game or something. So I will stop them outside my door and make them close their Chromebook. You don't walk into my classroom with an open Chromebook. You don't sit down at your desk and open a Chromebook. You leave it closed. You can talk to the people next to you. You can talk to me. You can get out other supplies. We have a 4-minute passing period. There is not enough time during that 4-minute passing period. There's no realistic time for a Chromebook. You need to move from one class to the other, find your seat, say hello to some people, say hello to your teacher. And in my class, they would be looking up at the daily slides and they could see what we're gonna do that day. I have other videos about how I use daily slides. I love daily slides. That's just like an implied rule or procedure here. I always start our day with daily slides. I made some really cute like dog and cat ones this year that I'm gonna use. I'll link some of those down below as well. But anyway, the point is we start off as human beings and not as like little worker bees or zombies on a Chromebook. I do not want to see it open until I tell you to. And there may be days where we just don't use them at all. Just kind of in the back of my mind, I try to plan at least one day per week where we're not using Chromebooks. Maybe we're reading, you know, like doing some free reading and then writing, and maybe we're using like the workbooks that they have or something. Chromebooks are so great for accessibility and I love them for that, and I like not having lots and lots of paper everywhere, so we do use them pretty often because I like that they improve accessibility and sustainability, but we do not need to be using them all the time, and especially not right at the beginning of class. We are going to say hello to each other, we're gonna talk about what we're doing that day, and we're not gonna be distracted by the Chromebooks. This is another thing that we do as well. There's a tweet from Lin-Manuel Miranda, and I have it in a poster in my classroom, and we say, "Good morning," and they repeat that to me. Eyes up, hearts up, hearts up, mind sharp, compassion on full blast. We take a little sip of coffee or water or whatever. Okay, let's go. This is just a little bonus procedure too. I've talked about this a lot. I've been doing this for years and years. And one of the reasons that I do it is because that took what, like 20 seconds, 15 to 20 seconds. And so instead of me saying, okay, everybody be quiet now. Okay, everybody stop talking. Okay, everybody look up here. We just do that. We just kind of have like this positive affirmation thing. It gives kids a couple seconds to wrap up their conversation or whatever they were doing, and that's kind of like the cue that we are starting class. I do not do bell work. I know a lot of teachers like bell work for a 45-minute class. For me, that just doesn't work. I want to get started right away. So they come in, sit down, again, not being distracted by the Chromebook, please. We do our little good morning thing. I let them know what is happening. We talk about what's on the daily slides for that day. And then, I mean, maybe it's a little bit like bell work. Like then there's something that they're gonna get started on just a couple of minutes into the class. And then while they're doing that, that's when I'll like, you know, put in the attendance. Doing attendance so many times in one day is so annoying. I really hate taking attendance. It's like one of the worst parts of the job. It's just annoying. I just look at my seating chart and just see who's missing. So, I mean, it doesn't take that long, but I don't do it right at the beginning of class, and I don't have them doing bell work right at the beginning of class. We are talking to each other, engaging with each other at the beginning of class, and then they can get started on something that they have clear instructions about. I'll do my attendance and then come back in and check in with them, and you know, we continue from there. Sometimes I still forget to take attendance, but that's how we get started. Anyway, oh my gosh, this video is gonna be like 1,000 years long. Oh, you know what? I also have a whole video. I have like 550 videos on this channel at this point, you guys. There's so much. It's hard to remember like when I made things and what I've said about it since, but I do have a video about my Chromebook procedures. They haven't really changed much, and I have posters that I have on my wall, and I'll point to those sometimes if a kid has their Chromebook open. I'm like, we do not start the day with Chromebooks open, and I'll point to the reminder. Like, it's there all the time. It's there all 186 days of the year or whatever. So those are available, I think, on Teachers Pay Teachers or my blog. I'll find them, I'll link them for you. Okay, so the next thing, I have like a little kind of quote thing at the top of my board. I just printed out letters and stapled a bin, and it says, pay attention with your face. And this is something I started a long time ago as well. I've never had to follow like the slant thing or whatever. I don't have like very strict rules about what kids are doing with their bodies when they're supposed to be paying attention, but I do need to see your face. This is very like a basic human courtesy thing. I don't need you to be like making eye contact with me. It doesn't need to be something that like makes people uncomfortable, but if you're turned around like this, and like drawing or something, or you're looking under the desk at your phone like this, no, that doesn't count. It's rude for one thing, and this is the expectation that you pay attention with your face. You don't have to be smiling. You don't have to be, you know, looking deep into my eyes, but you should, if your desk is this way and I'm over here, go like that. I have no idea if you can even hear me or if you're understanding anything or if you know that instructions are being given if you're going like this. So do this. So pay attention with your face is something that my students will hear me say a lot. And again, as a teacher, especially of middle schoolers, I mean, you know, I teach 6th, 7th, 8th, I've taught them all. Particularly 8th graders sometimes just really do not want to give you the pleasure of their attention at all. Like they're just not gonna even look in your direction. And I get it, they're being middle schoolers, it's not personal, but like it is kind of demoralizing. Like it is difficult to try to address people every day, try to talk to people, give them the information that they need. I already know this information. I don't need to say this out loud for myself. It's for you. And it is like difficult to talk to people who are not even looking at you. So I'm gonna be a stickler on that one. So that's kind of like the beginning of class stuff. The third thing is we do not line up by the door to leave, like right before the bell rings. We do not. We don't even stand. So I have a poster on my wall as well. Like all of these things, I've got poster reminders. I say them all the time. They're audio, they're visual. The expectations are very, very clear. I'm not gonna be wishy-washy in my expectations. You will know what is required. So I have this little poster of like a dog booty. I can link this down below as well. It's a little butt and there's a little arrow. And so I just point to the butt and then it says, in your seats until the bell rings. And so I always just say to them like, booty's in your seat till the bell rings, your booty should be in your seat. And then it's kind of like funny, you know, and they're kind of like, booties. But instead of saying like, sit down, everyone sit down, booty's in your seats till the bell rings. Sometimes they'll be like, I'm like, your booty's in the wrong spot, put your booty where it goes. But we do not line up by the door, you know, 2 minutes before the bell rings. Everyone over there is pushing, shoving. This is where you've gotten through a whole class, you've made it fine, but now somebody pushes another person or somebody says something mean to another person, and now you have a whole drama thing that you now have to like document. You got to go to the office with it. Now these two kids are in trouble. They didn't need to be. That didn't have to happen. They didn't need to stand by the door. They're taller than me usually when they stand up, so they're not going to be standing right at the end of class. Also, they haven't picked up their stuff, I'm sure. They haven't put their things away in the supply box. They left their water bottle, they left their backpack, they left their sweater. So sit down with those last 2 minutes and look around you and look for all your stuff and sit there and be bored for that last 30 seconds while you're staring at the clock and make sure you have everything. Stop leaving everything in my room. I have like a whole lost and found by lunchtime. So there are reasons for everything. And I don't really budge on these things, you know, like we don't really collectively make rules at the beginning 7 separate times. Like, no, this is my space that I have to be in all day. And within 4 minutes, I've got to get 35 people in and 35 people out and restart something and close down something and make sure everybody has their stuff and these people know what's going on. So I have a lot more responsibility than the kids do during that transition time. So I make the rules about how we come in and how we leave. I don't know if that's, you know, behavior coaches or whatever might not love that. You can tell me what's wrong with it, but I am not trying to get kids hurt and in trouble and cause drama. Okay, the next thing is no unnecessarily loud noises. A classroom is a little bit weird. Like there's so many people in there and that's not even a situation that like happens very often. Normally you are not so densely packed into a place. So one of my classes last year had 36 students plus me plus 3 instructional aides that were there to either help the whole class or individual students. So 40 people. And some middle schoolers at this point, you know, are kind of big, or you know, they're my size. So we have like quite a few adult-sized people in this room. We've got backpacks, we've got giant 100-ounce water bottles, we've got sweatshirts, we've got backpack, all the stuff, okay? It's really densely packed in there. We cannot afford unnecessary noises. Now in that class in particular, there were some kids who it's necessary. It was kind of necessary for them to make noise. There was never a second that entire school year when the whole classroom was silent. There were always some people maybe talking to the instructional aide, asking them additional questions, maybe talking to themselves, maybe whatever. There's always going to be some sound. That's how it is. But we don't need to be making unnecessary noise. We don't need to be tapping. We don't need to be zipping. We don't need to be making animal noises, cat sounds, meowing, talking unnecessarily loudly to the person who's right next to you or right across from you. You don't need to be yelling. Times 40, that's too much. We cannot do that. So there were quite a few kids that I would just have to talk to and be like, listen, you don't need to be making this much noise. This is unnecessary. Stop. We don't need to be crackling water bottles. We don't need to be knocking over these giant water bottles. Okay, just in this situation, we're not gonna be able to make lots and lots of extra sounds. It's just too much. We can't concentrate, we can't hear, we don't know what's going on, and it does just like drive me crazy. I can't be driven crazy every single day. We can't be doing that. So that's just, it's not like a poster or anything anywhere, but I have had to talk to usually there are some class periods that are just like really quiet all the time and you're like trying to get them to talk, and then other ones where it's just loud all the time, and I would just have to talk to them like weekly about how we cannot be making lots and lots of unnecessary sounds. Look around you. Look how many people are in this room. Nobody was ever absent. Look at these people in here. This is too many people really for one room. This is a lot of people. We can't be doing that. Now's not the time. You can go outside to break, lunch, whatever. You can make noise then. Right now we can't be making lots of extra noise. Okay, next one. We gotta keep it moving here. Another just procedure that I have is you can go to the bathroom whenever you want. That's fine with me. If the urge compels you, you can go. But don't interrupt me. If I'm talking to the class at the beginning of the class and giving them instructions, we're going over the daily slides, do not raise your hand. Do not walk up to me. Kids have to learn these things. I know there's always one kid that's kind of made an example of, they just wander up to me while I'm giving instructions to 39 other people and just stand there in front of me, and I'm like, do you need something? Can I go to the bathroom? No, not right now. Sit down. In just a minute. We just have to learn what is appropriate to do. So as soon as I'm done giving some instructions, we're seated and doing, whatever it is that we're doing. And if you're like, hey, can I go to the bathroom? Sure, go, whenever you want. That's fine. You need to get a drink of water? Sure. You need to fill up your water bottle? Go ahead. But don't interrupt what the entire class is doing for yourself. You need to be socially aware of what is going on and not interrupt 39 people because you gotta pee. And there are kids who don't have those skills at all, but most of them have an adult who helps them and coaches them through those situations, and we have lots and lots of compassion for those kids. But sometimes kids are just oblivious and just need to be taught. You gotta wait a second. You gotta wait until you're not interrupting a whole thing, and then sure. And our school has a pretty good system. I like the system. There's a little QR code. I turned it into a bit.ly, and then I link it on Google Classroom because I don't want to be on their phones and doing it actually. I don't know why they made a QR code initially, but I turned it into a bit.ly that I put on Google Classroom, so they can just click on that and they just fill out a little Google form when they have to go to the restroom. So then there's a timestamp on it. So then if something is vandalized in the bathroom, if something is, I don't know, if there's mischief afoot somewhere on campus, everyone in the whole school is supposed to use that link, and so they can check the Google form and see who was out of class at that time and narrow down a little bit easier what happened. So yeah, fill out the little Google form, just kind of wave and let me know you're going to the bathroom. Sure, that's fine. Just don't interrupt a whole class of people for it. Okay, here's another thing. My late work procedures, maybe I should make a whole video on this, but to kind of summarize it, I've had a lot of different late work procedures in the past. I'm sure in my other videos I've said I give 50% or whatever. I don't even care about that anymore. I will take your late work 1 day per month. There's 1 day per month that you can come show it to me. So we have these like kind of professional development days. The kids get out a little bit early. Teachers stay our full time once a month, but that means the class periods are pretty short. They're only like 20 something minutes. So generally we don't have anything huge going on those days. A lot of teachers use them for a bit of like a catch-up day. So we use those for a little catch-up day, and it's a late work day. And the deal is, on my end, again, I'm trying to keep my sanity. I'm not quite halfway through this teaching career of mine. I gotta make it to retirement. So my rule is I only have one tab open. I have Power School. That's where I keep the grades. That's all I'm opening. I'm not opening anything else. Don't email it to me. Don't tell me you submitted it on Google Classroom. That's great if you did, but you need to open it on your Chromebook. So they bring their Chromebooks over to me and show me, here, I did this. I'll look at their Chromebook. Okay, yes, looks complete. Okay, and then I'll give them the points for it. So if it's done exceptionally well, you can get your full points for it. If it was kind of thrown together, because last night you remembered that it was a late work day tomorrow, then you may not be getting full points, but it's better than nothing. So I will accept all late work pretty much, but I'm not doing extra work for it. I'm not gonna open any tabs. You can come show me that it's done. I've tried like Google Forms, I've tried different like folder, all kinds of things. And then I guess if it's a physical piece of paper, they can just come to me and show it to me as well. But I will only be doing the data entry portion of this task. The student can do all the other work involved. Okay, number 7, we've made it to the end. Not an exhaustive list, but some of the things that would drive me crazy if I didn't have these. This might seem like a weird rule, but no backpacks on the desks. If you've been a teacher for a while, you probably already know why. What are they doing if they have a backpack? Here's a okay. You have a backpack right here in front of you. What's going on behind that backpack? This is where they're texting. This is where they're eating. This is where they're working on work from other classes instead of doing whatever I've assigned them to do. So nothing positive happens behind a backpack. Again, like, I'm here to help you and I need to kind of like see you. Like, and this is the thing with middle schoolers. They are trying to block themselves, a lot of them. They're, at my school, a lot of them do like the mask, bangs, hoodie combo. So they're really trying to block. They don't want you to see their face. They don't want to turn their face to you. They want to have a backpack in front of them. But I'm here to teach you and also to kind of like assess how you're doing. Are you on the right page? Are you on the right assignment here? Are you making some progress? Are you maybe taking it in the wrong direction? I can help you out here. So part of being a middle school teacher is just, kind of finding ways around a lot of that hiding and just finding ways that you can still give kids that feeling of control. I don't really fight the hoodie fight. Just, I don't know. I fight a lot of fights here. I can only do so many. If you're gonna wear your hoodie, all right, you're gonna wear your hoodie. But you're really drawing more attention to yourself, and so now I'm gonna come, see what's going on. If you've got your backpack in front of you, I just know 100% that you're not doing anything good behind that backpack. So a lot of times they're just like not that bright with it. Like they don't realize that they're drawing all of the attention to themselves, and we know what you're doing behind that thing. So rather than like fighting that battle every single time, can you put your phone away? I wasn't on my phone. I saw you behind your phone. No, I just have my backpack right here. Okay, can you put your phone away? Instead of doing that whole thing, no backpacks on the desks. Put the backpack on the ground so that I can walk through the aisles and trip over it 15 times a day. I would rather fight that fight. I'm just gonna fall on my face and break my nose one day because all these backpacks are here and we can't even fit them all in the room, and they're gigantic and they have the handle. They're like luggage, and you know what? I'm just gonna deal with that annoyance and not have to deal with whatever's going on behind the backpacks. So no backpacks on the desks. So for those of you veteran teachers, or maybe you've only been teaching like 1 year, but you've already kind of like seen these patterns, like, yes, we cannot do this. I need to just make a across the board rule about this. What are some of those things that you do? Because as the teacher who has the experience, who sees kids every year, who sees kids all day long, there's not much new under the sun. Like you've kind of figured this out. So what are those things that you're like, yeah, we just don't do this, or we do need to do this every time, every day. There's definitely more, but you also have to pick your battles. These are the things that drive me crazy, and so these are the things I make rules about. There are other things that I definitely let go that other teachers would be like, I can't believe you let them do that, you know? But that can't be my job. I need to have time for teaching and for making connections with kids and talking with kids. I can't be enforcing rules all day long. So I just have a few that I stick with, and I feel like these are fairly easy to follow. They require reminders. There are kids who require reminders every single day of the entire school year. I have to like mentally prepare for that there's always those kids. But I think kind of figuring out for yourself what's important to you in your classroom, it'll increase your longevity, especially in middle school. It's hard to teach middle school. Almost everybody that you meet, if you tell them you teach middle school, they're like, ugh, oh my gosh, you're a saint. And it's a fun job, it's a challenging job, but even since I've been in middle school, things have changed, but there are certain like truths about middle schoolers that just kind of stay the same. There are certain things that they're gonna try to do. They're gonna try to hit the top of your door jamb as they leave. They're gonna try and squish themselves up against that door as they try to leave. And this is new since I was a kid, but they're gonna try and be on that Chromebook hacking into the Minecraft server or whatever as much as they can if you let them. So I'm not gonna let them do everything. So if there are more topics that you would like me to make videos on, let me know. Some people like these, some people hate these. Maybe we can get in a few more before the school year starts. But anyway, I hope that this was possibly helpful to you if you teach middle school. Maybe you're moving into a middle school classroom this year or something like that. Anything that I have resources for, I'll try to find all those and link them down below. So best of luck to you with back to school. I hope you have a great year, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.